Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Music of the Week. Not really much to self-promote or really much to say, just 5 albums to go through, so let's go through the 5 albums. We begin with one of my most anticipated albums of 2023, and it is Currents with The Death We Seek. These are a band I quite love. I caught them in early 2018 when they just dropped their full-length debut in 2017. I've listened to all their stuff since then, and to no one's shock, who know I'm a big Currents fan, this gets an A+. I genuinely cannot think of a thing that's wrong with it, and it might creep. I know we're still not even halfway through the year. It might creep towards my album of the year so far. I've listened to it quite a lot since it first dropped, and yeah, it's just pretty much great from every standpoint. It's instrumentally fantastic with some super duper heavy riffs. Easily the heaviest stuff the Currents have ever done, but still so extremely emotionally poignant and with a good little concept as well. And the theme of responsibility and learning from the past being a very very current running thing throughout the album. I love the performances. Brian Will, I hope I'm saying his surname correctly, has improved so much in terms of his clean singing and his low growling too. Has come so far. The songwriting is top notch. I love the guitar work. I love the guitar. The guitar work and the drum work, but the guitar work of Chris Weisman especially, who also kills it as Shadow of a Tense guitarist. Phenomenal work from that point as well. Production is absolutely great too. It's on Sharp Tone. They're one of the best labels going for modern day metalcore. Pretty much works well with it. And structure wise, yeah, quite a lot to go around. 10 songs, filling about 40 minutes. Really well done. Ends in a gorgeous way as well, because Currents always know how to end an album properly. They also know how to start one properly and put in a bunch of other songs that also work well. But the unique factor that worked for me more than I think it did for most others was the risk factor. There was a couple of things that the band tried that to some people didn't gel as well. There's some production tricks that people didn't take much truck with. I didn't mind them, and I've listened to the album again 4 or 5 times since it first dropped, so I had time to readjust to that stuff, I think, and now I just appreciate the fact that they did take those risks. So yeah, no, absolutely big recommend. And spoiler alert, this is my highest grade of, well, it's tied with highest grade, but we'll get to the other album in a little bit. Next is Dead Like Juliet with Stand Defiant. Now, this is a band from Italy, and they're a metalcore band from Italy, and I don't really get to go to Italy often, which is a shame because they have a really good metal scene. This one gets a B+. So I liked the heaviness of it. It's a much heavier album. It's not as, substantial, I guess you could say, as Current's new album is, but it's still got a lot of really good stuff going for it. It's got an optimistic tone to them. Ultimately optimistic is what I was trying to say there before my tongue decided to not work. Yeah, no, it's pretty goddamn heavy. I like the tone. I think the lyrics are a little bit cheesy and they're a little bit on the nose, but I'm gonna guess that English isn't the band's second language. However, they do still have, some really earnest feeling songwriting, even if it feels a bit cheeseball at times. I like the performances, even though I couldn't find a goddamn thing about the band members and who does what, which is a weird thing to state because there's 6 of them. That of all the bands I'm covering today, this band has the most members, and I couldn't find anything about any of them, so I have no clue who does what. I thought the production was really good too, very big and poppy and loud. Well, I say poppy, more in terms of its melody, really adds a lot, and I think structure-wise it's pretty great too. It does maybe have a couple of blurring issues, but overall I think it's a really solid metalcore album, just a very fun one too, so if you need some, honestly fun metalcore to balance out the more serious mature stuff of Currents, I can heavily recommend this one. Next we have Death Stars with their new album Everything Destroys You. These are an industrial/gothic metal band from Sweden, and usually most forms of metal, especially industrial metal from there, are good, but I don't know, this one gets a C-. I was not vibing with this one personally. It's my lowest grade of the episode. There was a lot about it that really didn't work for me personally. I liked the keyboard work and I felt it was a bit, heavy on emphasis, but it did work to carry the sound well. And the person who plays the keyboard also does lead guitar, and he's the only one really trying of the band. I don't know, everyone else just sounds so phoned in. The production is kind of awful. It really only focuses on one thing, and a lot of the sound sounds the same. I don't know, there's a lot of overly glaring issues, and it persists throughout the album's sound. There's no change in the pacing, and lyrically it's overall too bleak and gloomy, and I get that sort of thing, and that's sort of it's literally in Death Star's Wikipedia entry on the official Wikipedia site, not their band site, the Wikipedia site. They're known for having very, to quote the Wikipedia site itself, pessimistic and misanthropic lyrics, and I'm I just listened to 2 albums that ultimately did have a current of optimism to them, or at least something to gain. But I don't know, I just didn't like it. But I can't give it anything worse than that because it's my first Death Stars album, and it's the band's first one in nearly a decade. I think it's their first since 2014. So I don't know. Not something I've voted with, and I would love to know why industrial metal is taking such a dick kicking this year. Because first we had Dope, whose album is much worse than this one, and then we got Death Stars, and it's just kind of like bland, but like so much went wrong with it. But it's still got some redeeming factors. I guess the keyboard work is all right. You know, some of the production can work if you squint, and I like the lead guitarist and the work that he does. I just wish there was actually, I wish there were a bit more to this one, personally. Next, though, we go to probably an album that I think was shorter than Death Star's one, but something that really, really packed in a lot of work. We have Grandson with his second full length, I Love You, I'm Trying, and this one also gets an A+. I really like Grandson. I never thought I would, considering I thought it was going to be just one of those people who's got like that one big hit. In his case, it's Blood Water, which came out in 2018. I was not expecting much from Death of an Optimist when that came out in 2020. I really liked it. It became one of my favourites of the year. Very good chance that I Love You I'm Trying will be one of my favourites of this year as well. He's one of the most unique hip hop artists going, like mixing alternative and trap and rap rock beats and doing all so well, but this time it's less political and a bit more personal to him, and deals with a lot of like the trauma he suffered and some of the things he went through in the past 3 years alone since releasing Death of an Optimist, which you have to remember was released during the pandemic. It was released late in 2020. So yeah, the dude's been through quite the fucking ringer since then, and ultimately it's not bleak at all, which I do appreciate. He's very like hopeful in a weird way, and he pays tribute to the things he's lost, and he still understands that there's big problems, and he tries to address those problems and does so quite well on the album, and his central performance is great. So this is his first album, I think, with guest stars, but it's Grandson's own performance that really says a lot of it. His production is great too. I think he does it all of his own. I could be wrong about that. At least he does the main parts of it on his own, and yeah, structure-wise, there are a couple of songs that do feel a tiny bit too short, but they do build to really nice things. And it's got a very emotional like heft that really elevates a lot of the structuring and pacing to me. So yeah, I highly recommend you give this one a listen too. It's got a lot of really good shit on it, and it's something that'll make you feel like, because a lot of things he's been through, I've lost friends before, and it's fucking sad and heartbreaking. So if you do need an album like that that's going to pat you on the shoulder and say it's got your back, this is the album for you. And finally we have Therapy with Hard Cold Fire. Now this is a band I've known about for quite a while, but I've never fully listened to. I think this is their first album in 5 years. They're an alternative rock, sort of grungy band. I'm giving this one a B-. I liked the instrumentation. I thought the production was actually quite good. I don't mind the performances either, but I found the lyrics to be extremely repetitive, and the pacing even more so. There's not really a lot of variance in it, and it's mostly just got a really dark and very sad mood to it. And I get that it's like going for the sort of realistic tone, but you can do that and still have things that change the pace up, like Grandson's album, or like Currence's album, or like Dead Like Juliet's album. Okay, well that one was probably the most overly optimistic that I've covered this past weekend, but it actually tried to change it on occasion. But Therapy's new album has still got some solid riffs to it, and they're a much older band. They're probably the oldest band I've covered maybe this year, because they first formed in 1989. They've been around for about 34 years now. Yeah, I did quite like a lot of these songs on this, even though it doesn't sound like I did. I do find the the lyrics to be a bit defeatist, like self-defeating at times. But I like the guitar work. I think the guitar work is actually really good, as is the bass work. The bassist for this absolutely, sorry for my hair, absolutely gives the best performance. I think his name is Michael McKeegan. And yeah, I like a lot of production elements too. So if you need some like old 90s feeling grungy alternative rock stuff, I recommend giving this one a spin. There's a lot of highlights to it. And next is the whole ranking thing, and as always you should listen to all of these at least once, but we'll start from like the bottom and work our way to the top, I guess. We have Death Stars with Everything Destroys You, Therapy with Hard Cold Fire, Dead Like Juliet with Stand Defiant, and it's genuinely close, but I will go Grandson with I Love You I'm Trying, and then Currents The Death We Seek as the top album from my past weekend personally. Yeah, as always though, give all of these a spin. There's something good, at least a little bit good. There's probably something I kind of enjoyed about each album this past weekend. But that was for the past weekend. As for the future weekends, specifically tomorrow night, War of Attrition, the last show I'll be doing for WWE 2K22 before I switch to 2K23, and there's going to be a special announcement attached by the time that War of Attrition ends, so you're going to want to stick around for it. It's not a huge announcement, but it's something I've mulled out for the past couple of days, and it's something I'm going to be proud to announce when the time comes. So I'll see you all for that. As always, though, thank you for watching. You're awesome. Oh, next video I'll see you for will probably be a Fight of the Night episode, review on Sunday. So, yeah, probably that. But then, until then, as always, thank you for watching. You're awesome. Bye-bye.